How do you think our relationship has changed in the last year?
I wouldn't have thought it was possible, but I would say it's deepened. And getting to know who you are, not just the man, but also the husband and now the father. And seeing you in addition to raising our beautiful daughter, also starting this company that you're getting off the ground and seeing you kind of duke it out in the weeds of being an entrepreneur. I would say our relationship has only managed to unfold even more amidst the newness of figuring out how to be a parent. And what else? That's what comes to mind. What do you remember from the birth of our baby? Besides that.
You got 5 hours? I mean, certainly because I took the time to write the full time chronology of the birth of Naya. I remember a lot. I remember the elation of when your water broke. I remember walking to try to move things along and you having that insight about everybody is someone's baby. Any homeless person you see, anyone you ever see, they're someone's baby. And I just remember being so incredibly overwhelmed with how simple and yet profound that insight was. I remember trying for 50 hours. I remember trying. And the feeling of disappointment. I'm feeling so helpless. There's nothing I could do. There's nothing I could do to move it along. I remember the final moments. I remember the final pushes. I remember that it was actually a girl. We were so positive. Your grandma had spilled the beans and it was a boy, but it was a girl. I feel like I remember all of it. I so remember just having your back every moment and every second, not willing to go to sleep, not willing to be relieved by the midwife or the doula.
For days.
For days. Yeah. I remember all of it. When were you proudest of me and why?
It's hard for me to think of like a moment because I always feel so proud of you. It's like, I was actually talking about this just last night. She said something so beautiful, which is, it's not just having a deep respect for someone. It's not just respecting someone, but also, and that someone being your partner, but also having a profound admiration for them. And I feel that way for you every day. I look at you and I'm so proud of you. Just the choices you make on a daily level of staying in alignment with integrity and morals and ideals, and that there's not a day you don't give your best effort. You always try your best, your hardest, and you bring everything to the table. I can't think of a moment that I haven't been proud of you. So it's hard for me to kind of cull the many moments and say, this is when I was most proud, because it's like, I feel like I walk around and I'm like, yeah, this is my husband. He's that amazing. So that's kind of, I can't add to that.
I hear this vibrating, and I don't like that it's vibrating. So can I just give that to you so it's not vibrating near me? Thank you.
How did doing the and change or affect our relationship?
A lot of people found out that we were on drugs when we met.
It's true. A lot of people found out we were on drugs when we met.
I think that I'm certainly not somebody who looks for recognition for things. And even though I obviously think you're the bee's knees, and I feel deeply fulfilled in my relationship with you, I have a little bit of a sense that it's special and it's unique and it's something that we work very hard for. I think hearing the number of outreaches, or I got posted on Instagram the other day, a number of people were like, I love Ben and Sid. It's like, oh my God. Felt like a really meaningful and sincere homage and celebration of our relationship. And I think we've never, or maybe I've never felt that level of outward recognition for it. And I think that was probably the biggest thing that had changed. Do you want to say anyone?
I think in realizing the amount of people that it touched and affected and that knew me as well. The first time doing this project feeling kind of anonymous, and this time around realizing maybe we're not quite so anonymous. If grandma can call me up and be like, hey, so I saw that interview you guys did.
Did she see it?
No, she didn't.
Oh, okay.
She still hasn't learned how to use a computer just yet, but you never know. Tomorrow could be her day.
And then she'll see that.
Exactly. So I would say that it's not a changing of our relationship, but a changing of a perception perhaps of the process, maybe.
What did you learn from this video and its responses that scared or shocked you the most?
I think that it wasn't just an anonymous moment, alone in a room with my husband, because you forget you're the only one in front of me, and so in speaking, I only see you, but realizing that in actuality, it's a multitude of people in front of me who I don't actually see in this moment, that are invisible, that see into our relationship. And I guess just feeling a transparency and a vulnerability of being in view. And that can be a little intimidating. Of not wanting to, and I guess to some extent as well, like the question of, well, how deep do we go and how honest are we? Because there is effect, potentially by those close to us. So that's what I think of. How do you think the video and the responses online affected me?
Pass.
Don't want to know.
Yes, you do. Do you still like the nightstands that you purchased without asking me?
I actually have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with them at this point because they perfectly match your bed, which I've been trying to get a replacement for forever. And you won't let me because now one of your standing arguments is that all the rest of our bedroom furniture perfectly matches the bed. And so I can't get a new one without replacing it all. I still love the deal that I got on the nightstands.
So saved so much money.
I saved so much money. My smile muscles hurt. They're like cramping. What are you hesitant to tell me?
I think I'm most hesitant to tell you to try harder to connect with me. With how much you have between the real estate management and design projects and freelance projects and being a mom. I think our quality time has understandably been compressed and is much more, it's much rarer. And I think telling you that and seeing how hard you're working, seeing how many avenues you're pouring yourself into, I think the thing that I could be most afraid of is saying, hey, on top of everything else that you're doing, you try a little harder to spend more quality time with me. I think it's a difficult thing for me to ask for.
I'm so glad you're saying something now.
What's your biggest concern that you haven't shared with me before?
I guess my biggest concern, well, what's funny is it's my biggest concern, but then also what we call the trailer park dream of like this next year we make it or break it. You know, this next year we either get this piece figured out of, getting your startup up and running and what I've got going on with real estate and we make it and we get to stay in the tri-state area and we get to stay in Brooklyn, or we don't. And we've got a really clear timeline at almost 12 months to the month. And I'm scared about the idea of switching things so dramatically, and at the same time, change is always kind of exciting to me, so I know that we'll figure it out. It's hard for me to imagine any other place on earth being quite as awesome as New York, AKA in America. But I used to feel that way about California, and then I left it and I found New York, so I guess I'm open to the unknown, but it's scary. It's scary feeling just the pressures. It's like that little black shadow that rides my back of, try harder and work harder and do harder and let's see what happens. But it's scary, just feeling that little state of dis-ease and at the same time feeling so grateful for having the opportunity to try and fail. And if we can't cut it here, we can go somewhere else and live a lot more simply and be so happy. And I really believe that. I really believe that. Especially because, you know, at the end of the day, when I take stock of what I'm most grateful for, there's not a material aspect or a quantity aspect. It's the relationships that I have, and it's the relationship that I have with you and our daughter, and that's going with me, whether it's into a backpack, a suitcase, a car, or someplace other than Brooklyn. So I'm okay with that. It's still scary. How have I surprised you with my approach to parenting?
Wow. I think that there's you can be no further away from understanding something than you are from understanding parenthood until you become a parent. It's just that simple. And I feel like I remember all of the things that we said, no, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And this is clearly going to be the way that we're going to do this.
The mighty have fallen.
We are not going to do this that way. And this will be the way that we do that. And I mean, I think it falls on both of our shoulders, but I certainly look to you for a lot of guidance around your intuition as a mother, because I believe it's in your DNA, and I've watched you do it. I watched you do it with child birthing, I watched you do it with child rearing, and we have an amazing daughter. And so I guess one of the biggest surprises is just how differently we're doing things versus what we said we were going to do when we were in that place of completely having no idea what it was going to be like to have a kid. We've done so much so differently. What scares you the most these days?
Oh, that my daughter is going to die. I think, I mean, it's just totally irrational, but I feel like that's, you know, it's like you look at this young little body and it's just, it seems miraculous that it can ever reach adulthood, you know, especially when the entire world is a death trap. And I probably, the other iteration is always my deepest fear, which was the one preceding that, which is that you're going to die and leave me alone. And now that you'll die and leave me alone, and then my daughter will die after that, and I still will be left alone. And it's just, it's funny, I think about it all the time. I think of it constantly. I think of mortality constantly in a way I never used to conceive of, because it's happening in front of my face. It's happening weekly, monthly, and I see it. It's like watching a video or a photo that is like a delayed lapse photograph, just. And I look at her sweet young face, and I see my death, and I see your death, and I see our death. Somewhere in there is hers too. Hopefully I'll never see it. And I think the other thing that I see too is everyone always used to be older than us, and now they're the parents that you'd see passing us on the street, like it was always the next phase of life, and it was never the one we were in. And I look around now and they're all our age. And,
I speak with our elders, my grandparents, and the only thing they keep on saying is that it just happens so fast, and it just feels like it's happening so fast, and that it's just never enough time. It's just never enough time. And I guess it just feels like there'll never be enough time with you. So I try to be really present. I try to be really present with her too, because I know already she's nearly 30 pounds and I can't hold her like I did 6 months ago. She's not the little baby that she was 6 months ago. Like, it's already happening. It's already happening, and it's all so out of my control. It's terrifying. I have like mascara running down my face. Someone needs to tell me.
Yeah, you're okay.
When was the last time I made you feel secure as a man?
I mean, I don't know if it was my low 24 hours ago or 48 hours ago or 72 hours ago when just feeling so defeated and feeling like such a failure. And you making me feel like the most incredible person in the world. And the way that, the things that you say about me and the way that you describe me, I feel so much, I'm a greater man because I've met you. And it's in those times, it's in those periods where I'm in the depths, I'm in the lows, and you stop and you take notice and you pick me up in a way that I have never been able to dust myself off. And you make me feel like such an incredible and amazing man. Say it.
Oh, God.
No, it's not. It's just, it's, it's not that bad. It's my button, you know. What has surprised you about me being a father?
How much you want to do it. It's not just that you're trying to check the box and, fulfill some quota or try to have it be equitable on paper or whatever. You so genuinely, so fiercely want to be with our daughter as much as you possibly can. I see it, I see you literally like raising your hand as quickly and as fast as possible when an opportunity presents itself, even if it's like 4 a.m. and I'm tapping out.
Ben, take her. And you're like, come on, Naya, let's go read books in the living room. And then you come back and you're like, we just had the most special time. And it's the sweetest thing I've ever seen. And it's so sweet seeing this special, intimate relationship that you two are building as father and daughter. And you want to do it so badly. It's amazing to me. It's so amazing to me just how involved you want to be and how active you want to be and how present and how loving you are. It's incredible. It's incredible to watch. What have we lost or changed because of the baby that you want to regain?
Silence, stillness. When you left the other week, and I stayed home with the dogs, I slept in until 9 or something like that. And for the first time in almost 2 years, I heard this silence. There was just this stillness. And it was so familiar. And I realized this silence, this stillness, we used to experience this all the time. It's part of our lives, once a week, twice a week. And I realized I hadn't experienced that in almost years. So, with that experience, really rings moments with you, just quiet, relaxed, tranquil moments with you where we're not thinking about the next thing that we have to do. There's not this mental checklist bearing down as to what hasn't been done or what do we have to do, and going to bed exhausted by 10:30 and awake. I'm just time, just a pace of time. There's a pace of time that feels like that we have foregone, that we will never get back.
We might.
In 20 years.
Really far away in the future. Yeah. Miss that silence too.
What can I do to be a better father?
God, I can't come up with a single answer to that one. I don't think you can be a better father. I think you're kind of being the most amazing dad ever. You try, like I said, you try as hard as you can all the time to be involved and be present and supportive as a partner as well. Like, you've always got me in your sights of supporting me first and foremost, and supporting our child emotionally and through all these different ways. I can't think of how you could be a better father. I think you're kind of the best. How do you think having a child has changed me?
That one dragon scale that exposed your weakness, that one inkling of doubt that you ever had in your ability to do something completely went away when you had Naya. I've said this a bunch of times. You got another gas tank. It's unbelievable. You got an extra gas tank. And to watch the amount of time that you put into life now with the confidence and knowing that you can do anything is absolutely inspiring to watch. I have watched you take on projects and tried to learn from that and tried to find that confidence in myself. It's incredible. Just the confidence, the assuredness that you have of your ability to do anything it's amazing. A baby popped out and this incredible, unwavering confidence in your ability to do anything. It's incredible to watch. Has there ever been a time when you or I forgot how to get back here in this place of connection? And if so, how did we remember?
Yeah, our relationship almost totally fell apart. We almost got divorced. Things were really shitty, really scary, and it gave us one of the most incredible lessons of all time, which is that no matter how in love, and I'll speak personally now, no matter how in love I am with you, no matter how perfect I think you are, no matter how perfect I think our relationship is, that those things alone won't get you through the thick and thin and into the years and the years and the decades and into a lifetime together. And the lesson I took away is that we are fallible. We are fallible in this moment. We could be fallible in the next. And the only way that I know of to withholding that truth of vulnerability, that even our relationship, even our relationship is as equally vulnerable to change and decay as any others, is the constant vigilance of working on it, constantly being active on it, realizing that every day we wake up and we choose to be together. And even now with the addition of a child, we're still choosing to be together. It doesn't matter that we're married. It doesn't matter that we live together. It doesn't matter that we have a family together. You and I as individuals are still constantly choosing to be together in this partnership on a daily basis. And I think of that, and it fuels me to constantly work on things and to constantly make that extra effort of, if there's a snarky comment or I feel disconnected from you or something comes up, that it's not safe to brush it under the rug. Even with being together for 11 years, even with all this, it's still not safe to brush it under the rug. You've got to talk about it. We've got to talk about it. And I think it's that constant feeling of vigilance that is the greatest gift that I ever could have received from having gone on the rocks. And so I would say that's how we've gotten back here. And that's how we hope to stay here. That's what comes to mind. What do you think is my biggest challenge right now, and what am I learning from it?
This is tough. I'm having a very difficult time thinking of what your biggest challenge is.
I could think of like 20 different things.
But the biggest one. I think your biggest challenge right now, and for as long as you let it be, will be to be in a place of ease in the eye of the hurricane. Mm-hmm. Right now we are choosing to have incredibly full lives, and that means that there is a tremendous amount of reward and fulfillment and opportunities and fruit to pluck off of the tree and try. It just tastes amazing and incredible. And it's a lot of work. It is a tremendous, tremendous amount of work. And I've heard you speak about, for the first time, levels of anxiety around how much you have to do. And it's an insurmountable pile, and there's just always stuff to be done. I remember 3 days ago, you didn't do something for like 30 minutes, and you're like, I've got to get back to work. And it was like, just take a minute. Let's just take a minute. So I think your biggest challenge is with the level of commitments and desires and goals that you have set for yourself, which are incredible, which are admirable, which I think will bring you and our family tremendous, tremendous value and reward in the future. But the biggest challenge is, how can you take that on and still feel centered, still feel content, still feel at peace? And obviously, I mean, when you master that, you've come down from the mountain. I'd like to know that. Feel free to pass on that lesson when you get that, but I think the reward is just in overcoming it, completely self-fulfilling. How has your love changed for me?
I think it probably goes back to that earlier question of how, the first question in the deck of how has our relationship changed? It's deepened. There's yet another way to relate to you. I get yet another avenue to be in love with you, and it's watching you be a father. And such an incredible one at that. I'm trying to think of what else feels like it's changed. I would also say too, like, a feeling of solidarity unlike any before, you know, of kind of being just back to back, just duking it out, or two, you know, cows pulling at the plow, just neck and neck.
We've gained a little weight, but my gosh,
just a little
cows?
But like that feeling of, you know, in becoming parents and becoming more isolated in our community as we had it, and finding this great solace in each other. There being kind of this focus, perhaps even a return or of like a more stereotypical relationship of, I felt like before perhaps having a child, there was a lot of celebration of each other as individuals within our partnership, of you get to make your decisions as you see fit. And, like I could use an example of like when we did have a disagreement of like someone drinking more than, the other person found desirable. I don't know who that would have been.
Who would have drank a lot?
It was me.
Strange.
But using that as an example, the argument would always be like, it's my choice. I'm choosing to do this. And if you're having a hard time, you can choose how to manage yourself, And if you're saying you can't be with me, while I'm doing this, then you can leave. And something has changed in that of, it feels like there's more kind of mutual accountability perhaps, or this interweaving has occurred in both our relationship and my love for you. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what comes to mind. What do you think shaped me so that I could be a partner in this relationship?
Well, I think there are two aspects of it. I think there's the intrinsic you, that is just who you are, and then there is the environment that also impacted who you've become. So first is the intrinsic you, which is amazing because I see these photos of you with lipstick all over your face with the huge grin and your arms around Sparky. Mm-hmm. And I see this child with this zest for living, this precociousness that clearly is not how I was as a kid. And to then see Naya and to see the level of get the fuck out of my way, I'm doing this, and just going out and grabbing life. Mm-hmm. Before she understands what going out and grabbing life is, it's just part of who she is. And I can see that's part of who you are. That's part of who you were when you were her age. And so in having her, I understand you more deeply than I ever have. Because I can see that part of you now. I can see what that was when you were 1.5. You were so young. What an amazing, amazing part of you that is. What that looks like. So there's that part. Just this incredible desire to go out and take from life what you want from it. That is an innate part of who you are. And then there is, I think, learned, maybe this is also innate, but through conditioning, through your environment, and through your life circumstances, was figuring out how to adapt and figuring out how to evolve with the situation. And what that's allowed you to do is to find a quote, an attribute, a way that you want to be, and say, I'm going to make that a part of myself. You can go out and you can find something in the world and say, I really like that. I like the way that is. I like the way that looks. I like the way that feels. I'm going to make that a part of myself. And it's another incredible, incredible part of who you are that I think is more that way because of your environment and how you had to adapt to the environment around you. So those are two off the top of my head.
Mm. the last one. You're all out.
Well, I was going to fake one and make up a question.
What do you see for us in 10 years?
10 years. In 10 years?
Yeah. God, how old will we be?
I'll almost be 50.
Whoa. I'll be 42.
10 years. Holy shit.
So tell me what almost 50-year-old Ben is doing.
It's so difficult for me to look that far into the future. I'm very good at 1 month, 3 months, 8 months, 16. Like I don't miss the mark by far. As soon as we start getting out that far, the globe gets a little fuzzy. That's what I see for us. Parenthood has been the most meaningful, fulfilling experience, role that I've ever taken on. And I think we owe it to ourselves to do more of that. And so, we're talking about having one more kid. That's it. I'm not going to throw something out like, let's have 10.
Okay.
1 per year.
Let's have a litter, honey. But I guess there's a part of me that really wonders about, should we adopt a kid after we have a second? Or how can we really embrace this role of parenthood in a way that takes some of the profound challenges that we have as a society in raising children as single couples, which is damn near fucking impossible. And how can we try to make impacts on children's lives, make impacts on parents' lives? I feel like we meet parents and they are struggling and dying for companionship, for camaraderie, for interaction, for community. It's so isolating. So even though I'm incredibly confident that I am going to get what I'm working on off the ground, it feels like to me 10 years, I want to be making a difference for parents. I want to be embracing this role of parenthood and figuring out how to make a difference and make an impact.
Here comes the commune. Commune Ben and Sid.
Coming to you in 2025.
Seems like a good 10-year dream.
Where do you see us in 10 years?
I mean, a lot of what you're saying really resonates with me. I feel like to some extent, you and I have always done a great job of building community and finding community, and we've been at a little bit of a loss this last year and a half in being parents. And I feel like we're just starting to figure out the next step, and other people are having babies, and families are happening as well. And I think it's an amazing opportunity to show leadership in what we believe is most meaningful, and as well as being able to have baby number 2 into something that would be deeply meaningful for us. Because this last year and a half, hands down, the most challenging aspect, I would say, for me, and argue potentially for both of us, has been it being so isolating. So I'd like to think we would have figured that out and we will have settled in more ease and peace into whatever our roles have. I feel like at this stage in our lives, we're kind of inventing ourselves. And I hope that in another 10 years, that the path will kind of be chosen, and that will be really squarely on it. Right now, there's just so much going on and so many balls in the air. So that's what I hope.
It's a beautiful hope.
Yeah.
It's 6:19.
Awesome.
How was that?
It's great.
Awesome.